Hi, my name is Christian Guzman, and I am Director of International Programs here at the Centers for Inter-American Studies today. From college here in Ecuador, I am social communication and publicity major, which you would call here, so licenciado en comunicación social y publicidad. Ecuador is going through a transition time with the new communication law, so that for Ecuadorians per se is very interesting. Things are very different from when I studied, and I graduated in 2008, 2009.
A lot of it's the same. They have different regulations than we do, but one thing that really stood out to me was we had a visit from a journalist for one of our classes.
Experiencia de hacer comunicación social aquí en la ciudad de Cuenca, sí.
Okay, so he's glad to be here. He gives thanks to CDI to be invited to give this speak.
He gave us the steps to being a good journalist. And what really stood out to me was that he said pretty much the #1 thing to being a good journalist is being a good person.
So he says that the journalism it's an issue about the spirit, like a spiritual issue, because the main material used in journalism are the words, and the words are the genuine product of the spirit.
You have to want to know the truth and just be dedicated to that and just be a good person, and I thought that was really, really interesting. I was writing all these steps down, and I think it's definitely a good tip, but here in America I just don't think that's a value or a characteristic of journalism here. So.
I think that maybe the most important thing that communicators will gain from visiting Ecuador is to be able to see how Ecuadorian communicators are going through this process change. Like radios like Gauna, what they have to do is they have to play a certain amount of national music. So what we call it música nacional, but it's really just music produced in Ecuador. Sometimes you hear the same songs being repeated over and over because it's not that we have just too much diversity in artists. Like even when we went to visit the radio station, he was on the guy that was with us, he's been on the radio for 24 years, yet he is only now just being obliged to go to university to get his communication title. Yeah. So I think just how we're adapting to all of these new rules and processes and how that changes communication in our country, it's a really interesting time for communication in Ecuador. So I think that maybe here after 10 years, it may not be as interesting because the rules will already be set. So now it's just being exposed to how we adapt.
It's a time of transition in Ecuador, a lucky time to be visiting and to be learning about the culture.
Tiempo has all sorts of news as well, but even the format is quite different. It's more spread out. I think it's more modern, and they focus a lot on local news as well. Yeah, El Tiempo's known because they have a big C-section. It's the social section of the whole thing. We're going to their plant and where they do all their news and where the magic happens.
Christian explained that some of the laws mean positive changes for Ecuador, like increased domestic media production.
Okay, so they get official pictures, especially when it's international.
However, he also explains that not all media outlets share the same view on the new media laws.
So this is the paper where the newspaper gets printed, and this is imported from Chile. And the president says that now a poor country can't afford to have a national park, so it can't be a protected park anymore, and we're going to exploit it for petroleum. Lots of people were very upset, people all over the world. Angelina Jolie came down, she was like, but we can't really talk about it anymore. So you can't publish that because of the president that's cool. And unfortunately, the fines are really, really high, so they could be even millionaire fines. The communication students themselves very went, and they had also offered it to them, but I don't think they're going to have it anymore because they already, you guys were already in the news. So now I just have to break the news for them. Not tell them.
There's one way to help you from spreading from one community to another. That way, if just one place does it, and the other.
It would be pretty easy to look at the media differences and judge them according to our own standards of media production. But that's not what we were here to do. We were challenged to be open-minded and non-ethnocentric.
Jennings would be so proud that I remembered this. It's when you look at somebody else's culture through the lens of your own culture.
Basically taking my blinders off and, you know, opening my horizon to a different culture, and to see that, you know, Americans, you know, we function well, we do well, we live well here, but so do other countries. You know, Ecuador, a lot of people before I left for the trip would say, why are you going to Ecuador? Like, I come back from this trip now and say it's totally different. You know, it's an awesome country, it's great people, you know, good vibes all around. I mean, they're a thriving country, they want the best for their country.